let's make a staff. So we're going to make a staff just like this one. And thanks to Lateran for pointing out a good way to get the +7. One of the biggest problems early on with this craft is that getting a Reap staff with level 20 Reap and level of physical spell skills, level 7, this costs like 20 divines. But we figured out another way that we can get that +7. On average, getting that +7 is going to cost about like 10 to 15 divines, but it's better than spending 20. So we want a Reap staff with item level 81 and physical damage to spells. Let me actually just hide my overlays. We want this modifier. So if you can buy one of these, not corrupted, and it also has to be item level 81, this is great. So something that's like 1 orb of annulment. And then we want to recombine this with another reaping staff with a crappy suffix. To start out, we're going to recombine this and then like intelligence. It doesn't matter. This has a 100% chance of success. So we recombine. Then the next step is we can actually, either you can go for an annul, but Crusher suggested something a bit smarter, which is maybe going instead for an Omen of Dextral Crystallization and an Essence of Abyss. This is going to annul the suffix and then add Mark of the Abyss. It's complicated, but we're basically just using it as like a targeted annul for now. So let's see what we get. I have, by the way, I have written this. I will write this on Mobalytics to show like if this happens to you, then do this. If that happens, then do this. The next thing is we're going to use this combination of omens, and that's an homogenizing omen and an omen of dextral exaltation. So this will only add modifiers that share tags with what we have. So we currently have damage and physical, and then this is going to force a suffix. And if we look at the only physical and damage tag suffix we have is level of all physical gems. And if we use a perfect X, we can only hit this tier 2 or tier 1. This is a weight of 250. This has a weight of 100, which means that we have a 1 in 3.5 chance of getting level of all physical spell skills. We did the maths on using a greater X. It's actually cheaper to use a perfect X because on average with this method, you'd have to do this 8.5 times. This method is 3.5 times. So here we go. And it's a 1 in 3.5, we get the +7, and we got the +6, which is okay. So now, if this was very high tier spell physical damage, like tier 1 or tier 2, we could recombine this with a base of any type. It doesn't have to be a reaping staff, which is quite expensive. We recombine this reaping staff with another staff with a low tier modifier, and there would be a very, very high chance that it selects the reaping staff because the recombinator is inclined to select the base with the rarer modifier on it, the base that has the modifier with the lower weight. But this has tier 7 spell damage. So if we recombine this with a low tier base, we could end up with some like crappy, I don't know, like a chiming staff. So instead what we have to do now is go get another base with a low tier modifier and recombine it again. And then we go for the recombine again with this 97% chance of success. We could use a lucky omen, but rather just do it like this. Imagine it failed. Okay. And then the same thing. So we get rid of this mod. And then the same thing. Dextral X, homogenizing X, and we hope it adds +7. And we got +6 again. Again, the average is like 1 in 3.5. And so we need to go get another base. If these bases just end up crazy expensive because of this, what you can now do is instead try and annul off that physical spell skills. If you fail, you would have to annul down to 1 modifier, chaos spam for the physical spell damage, which is a 1 in 33 to hit, and then do the same thing where we are slamming on the suffix, except you wouldn't have to do the Mark of the Abyss in that version. So get another base with Spirit. I have no idea. I haven't seen that. And then we do the same thing and we Mark of the Abyss We try again. Give us the +7. Please. 1 in 3.5. Ah, I don't like this. This is expensive. The alternative to this is buying one with the +7 and then recombining it with a low tier mod for like a 75% chance of success. But the +7 costs 20 divines, and then you only have a 75% chance of success. So let's try it again. And hope we hit the +7. Please. No, please. Yes, we got it. Okay. Even though that was brutal, we spent less than the average it would cost to buy a +7, recombine it for a 75% chance of success, which is terrifying. So we got the +7 now. Oh, wait, why did we not account for this? Oh, shit. Wait, no, we don't want the Mark of the Abyssal Lord as a prefix because now we have... Wait, no, there is a way around this. There is... Oh, you know what we're going to have to do? I think we're still going to have to use an Omen of Light. Okay, this is nasty, but it's okay. It's okay. I guess there's nothing else we can do. We just go for the 4 div. And like I said, at least we're not going for a 20 div 75% recom, which is just like terrifying. Like life per enemy kill and +7. See, so even with like a very crap mod like this, and then a lucky recomp, it would be about a 75% chance of success. And if you fail, you lose everything. So it's like a 20 div failure. So just go for the safe method. Desecrate. Okay. Have it. It doesn't matter what we get here. We're gonna like instantly annul it off. Alright, Omen of Light. And then we annul off that modifier. Gross. Okay. Now, it's fine though. It's fine. Everything's fine. So what we need to do, we're going to activate Omen of Homogenizing Exaltation, Dextral Exaltation, and Greater Exaltation. So it'll add 2 exalts, only suffixes that share tags. And the current tags we have are damage and physical caster gem. With this, we can only hit cast speed, crit chance for spells, and crit bonus. Any of these. And with a perfect exalt, we can only hit tier 2. With a greater exalt, you could hit tier 3. Cast speed is probably best. But let's slam this guy. Okay, cast speed. Ooh. So we got tier 3 cast speed, which is a bit shite. But then tier 1 crit bonus, which is actually really nice. So now what we want to do is we're going to do the Mark of the Abyss thing. So it's all smooth sailing from here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get an Omen of Sinistral Crystallization. And we're going to get an Essence of the Abyss. And then this is going to remove a random modifier, add Mark of the Abyssal Lord. This guarantees that it will be a prefix modifier that gets removed, and then that removes the spell damage. Now what we want to do is we want to get increased spell damage per maximum life, which is a Ulaman modifier. It's an Ulaman modifier. So Ulaman, we're going to use Ulaman, and we're going to do a preserved jawbone. So this will replace the Mark of the Abyss with an Ulaman desecrated modifier, like that. I believe we do have like 100% chance to unveil the mod we want, but I'll just use an Omen of Abyssal Echoes just in case. So the mod we're looking for now is the 5% increased spell damage per 100 maximum life. And 5% increased spell damage per 100 maximum life. One thing to actually add is using the Omen of Abyssal Echoes actually does make sense, because if you reveal 4% increased spell damage per 100 maximum life, this rolls 4 to 5%. You can then re-roll to try and like get a 5% without having to use a Divine Orb. So we got that. And now it's easy peasy. All we need to do now is we're going to use Homogenizing Omen, Double Exalt, and a Perfect Exalt. Now all we can hit is spell physical damage, damages extra cold, fire, lightning, or hybrid spell damage mana. Everything except the hybrid spell damage mana is great, and I believe they'll be tier 2. So let's do it. Double X, Homogenizing X, Perfect X. There we go. Tier 1, tier 2. This thing is actually really nice. Now, the only thing left to do to finish it is let's get some Arcanist Etcher, apply quality. And then if you want to go giga all in with this thing, what you can do are get these Hedge Witch Assandra's Rune of Wisdom, which cost 16 divines each. But what these do will give you +1 level of all spell skill gems. That is crazy good damage. If you can't afford that, what you instead can do is add in just like crit chance for spells or spell damage. Suckerwell's Rune of the Sky. That's probably like the best cheapo option. And then we can see, so with my current stuff, we're at 912. With this, we are at 745. So the reason this is so much lower is actually just because of the hedge witch things. That's a craft. The method is probably better than the original suggestion, which was like get a 20 div staff and then go for like a 75 recomb. Whereas at least this is a little bit more deterministic. Latcheron and Crusher, you guys are MVPs for this craft. Thank you. There will be a written guide for anyone who wants to read it, which will probably be cleaned up and easier to follow than this like chaotic, panicked craft. Only thing left to do is to give this guy a price check. So we want to check for level of all Fizz spell skills, and then Reap level 20. And then we also want to look for either, let's say, 2 cast speed, crit bonus spell, and crit chance spell. So these are our suffixes. Oh, one thing we must add is spell damage for 100 life. That's in there. And then we can say damage as extra. And you could also do like, let's say, physical spell damage. And we can say 2 of these. Are there any on the thing? There are. And they cost 35 divines. I don't think we spent 35 divines on that. Even getting screwed on the slamming, I don't think we quite spent 30. You could be more specific and say like, I have 2x gains at 59. And this is tier 3, tier 1, tier 3, tier 3, tier 1, tier 2, tier 1, tier 1. And this is tier 4 cast speed. We've got tier 3 cast speed. I don't know what I spent making it. It wasn't like 40 divs, but I'll list it for 40 divs, even though it probably sell for more, but I probably spent about that. It's probably worth more like 50, 60, 70 divs, but I just made this for the video, so I'll sell it at a lower rate for anyone who wants to yoink it. Anyway, that's it.